Meet the Ankylosaurus, also known as the Anky. A dinosaur so infamous for its ability to shatter ankles, it's embedded within its own name. The Anky is another sandbox dinosaur that was left less fleshed out than its other dinosaur counterparts, Legacy's abandonment leaving it not necessarily balanced for your optimal survival experience. It has a maximum health of 5,443 and a max damage of 1,260. That's a slight bit higher than the power of a Rex bite, although without the benefit of leg break, as Anky never had this mechanic added, leaving it never living up to its true potential. But nevertheless, the Anky is still a force of nature to those who challenge it, sacrificing speed and mobility for bulk and bludgeoning. A beast perfectly happy to disable you permanently should you dare get close to his favourite rock. However, luckily for us, the Azura servers allow us to experience what it would be like if Anky was granted its leg-breaking powers, meaning we are all the more a force to be reckoned with. So in today's long-awaited spotlight video, we'll be taking a deeper look into the Legacy Anky, how it works, how long we can survive as one, and most importantly, how it honks and bonks with its true bonking enabled. Enjoy. Today's adventure started with a friend, as there's only one thing that's better than an Anky, and that's a second one, allowing us to stub Dino toes at twice the efficiency. That, and we are also each other's emotional support animal. After we got our bearings briefly, we set off on our journey, but that's not before breaking one of our own ankles before heading anywhere. We started our journey at Rapids Pond and made it our general end destination to reach the bog at the top end of the map. Of course, I wouldn't be surprised if this plan would eventually fall apart along the way. As you guys can already probably see, the Anky was hit with the same curse as the Alberto, and that curse is the male serving looks and the female serving brown bread. But to be fair, I think the Anky looks nicer in a natural brown. Despite being classed as a sandbox dino, it's actually relatively complete when compared to the others. It can smell for food, it can nest, and it has all its basic controls present. I think what caused it to not be available with the base roster was just general stat balancing and a lack of bone break. But as mentioned before, Azura has a mod in place for the Anky to live up to its reputation, so we really don't have that much holding us back. Well, apart from our own speed and turn radius, as we move and turn like a bus driving at peak traffic times. When it comes to general attacks, the Anky has two variations at its disposal: breaking your kneecap or breaking your friend's kneecap. A very simple yet effective defense method, as a handful of hits, if not one, is enough to wipe out most dinos.
Better scramble like an egg before you get folded like an omelet. Jaeger.
However, this leaves the Anky quite open on its front end, and this tied with its bad turn radius means that you need to be careful with your positioning. While on the topic of damage, one impressive thing about the Anky is how strong they can be in the juvie stage, especially with bone break. A fresh juvie Anky already can do enough damage to make small tier carnivores look the other way, and they are actually still capable of breaking the legs of large dinos even when they are little. You see, the way the leg break works is that it operates off a percentage. Juvies have 30% chance of breaking a limb per swing, and adults have an 80% chance. However, the mechanics get a little foggy when the factor of weight is also brought into the equation. And let's not forget that Legacy is buggy as hell anyways, so nothing is guaranteed. For example, we tested the juvie bone break with some apexes, and couldn't seem to get a break with multiple hits. However, we managed to break a Giga's leg twice. It seems like baby Ankys are Giga hunters. Juvie Ankys also have silent footsteps, meaning they can travel without making a sound. Here's an example, comparing it with the footsteps of a juvie Utah. Who knew that juvie Ankys have the natural qualities of a silent assassin with a hammer? But onwards with our dysfunctional adventure, and we spent the first leg desperately trying to avoid the mix pack we could hear in the distance, because despite our combined power, numbers will always win eventually. Little did we know our fate would soon be inevitable, but as we travelled we began to appreciate the jolly walk cycle the Anky has. It almost made us want to be optimistic for the journey ahead. But of course, when you're playing the Isle, any hint of enjoyment that you feel is just a sign of bad things to come. As night began to fall, we made sure to stay full of leafy greens, although it wasn't exactly necessary, as both Anky's thirst and food drain are actually pretty decent, and it'll be a fair amount of time before you run out of your reserves, but just like that fat couple you see in McDonald's, there's always space for more calories. After a good amount of waddling along, we made it to just about the halfway mark, and my partner in crime, emphasis on the word crime, decided to eye up a juvie in the distance and make his slow yet murderous approach. To cut him some slack, the juvie had somewhat of an extended time to make his escape, but sadly, he met his doom. I expressed that bad karma would come for us soon, and boy was I right. Shortly after the murder, we noticed the mix pack we've been avoiding this entire time was tailing behind us. We hoped that we'd be able to avoid conflict by sticking close together, but eventually they circled around us, and the bloody fight of broken bones began. After securing the bone break on the Giga, I was in a very dangerous position. I was bleeding a lot, so I couldn't risk chasing the Giga down to finish it without risking myself. I needed to sit down, but the aloe was making sure that I couldn't do that either. So within my life in the balance, I used my last moments to do callouts for Skink in hope that he could finish the job. You get him, he's got me good.
Got him.
Nice. Can you come protect me? Because I'm low health.
Yeah. Oh. The parasaur's on me.
Nice, come to me and just defend me.
Okay.
Nice, he's got a broken leg, finish him.
I'm coming in. I'm coming in.
Nice, now lie down and rest. This was a sweet victory, but it was short-lived, as backup arrived shortly in the form of at least 2 Rexes, and our Anky lives were taken away. I was quite impressed with our efforts, but it really shows the difference that leg break ability makes. So whilst we wait for me and Skink to gather once more and restart from where we left off, why don't we take a look at the real Anky? Ankylosaurus was a large herbivore that lived in what is now North America during the Cretaceous period. It grew up to around 10 meters long and was estimated to weigh up to 4 tons or even higher. While the Anky's tail is infamously known for defense against predators, studies actually show that they use their club tails against each other more often than carnivores, as damage to their osteoderms show evidence of blunt force trauma rather than bite damage. Perhaps they were avoided by predators so much that they only had themselves to take the violence out on, or maybe it's just because other Ankys couldn't run away so fast. Onwards to attempt number 2, and I originally thought we were right where we left off, but by the time we got our waddling started again, I had realised we were actually close to everybody's favourite place. Twins. And guess what we have to pass through to get to our location? Yeah, twins. Thankfully though, that mix pack must have had a clear out prior to our arrival, as the only thing around the hotspot was a littering of dead bodies, a dinosaur graveyard. One Rex was still around, but it decided to hightail it when it saw us coming. In retrospect, he may have been one of the Rexes who had killed us before, and was worried that we had come back for revenge. We chose to carry on as we'd already had our fair share of apex blood, and the Rex gave the impression he felt the same way. After the final stretch of walking and conversing about Anky escapades, we closed in on our destination, only to find a young Suko to welcome us. And of course, my youngling beating friend wanted nothing more than to turn him into a brown stain on the ground. Thankfully, his speed prevents him from becoming the most prolific juvie killer the Isle has ever seen. As we made it to the top of our destination, we soaked in our triumphs and eventually once again resorted to mindless violence against one another, to see who could claim the rightful title of King of the Waterslide. Sadly, I myself was not destined for this title, but despite this, I'm still quite happy with how our adventure had turned out. So that was my Anky Spotlight video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. This will actually be my last long form video of the year, so I hope you guys enjoy the remaining days of the year 2025. You might still catch me streaming here and there before 2026, but as for season 2 of Dino Spotlights, that's for next year's me. I also forgot to mention, but I also have a Discord, so make sure to join via my bio below to keep in touch. And also don't forget to check out GallantSkink, who is my journey buddy, as he makes his own Isle content that is great to get stuck into, and I plan to do more collabs with him in the future, so check out his perspective of this journey next. And with that being said, I'll see you next year.